Love Your Life, Not the Gears by Rachel Cruze. Picture this. A young married couple returns home from an amazing weekend getaway. They're glowing, totally in sync, riding that perfect high of quality time together. The wife kicks off her shoes, sinks into the couch with a contented sigh, and casually picks up her phone. Then it happens. A single photo from a fashion blogger she follows. But this blogger isn't just on vacation. She's gliding through the Greek islands on a yacht. The water looks like liquid sapphire. The spread of food could be in a magazine. Those shoes definitely cost more than most people's rent. And just like that, the warm glow starts to dim. Suddenly their lovely Charleston trip feels ordinary, maybe even boring. Without really thinking, she's tapping away, checking flight prices to Greece, a destination she knows is way beyond their budget. She's chasing someone else's highlight reel, and it's quietly robbing her of the joy she felt just moments ago. That young woman scrolling on the couch? That was Rachel Cruze, and that moment captures something almost all of us have experienced. A sneaky poison that seeps in before we even notice. The comparison trap. Today we're diving into Love Your Life, Not Theirs, a guide to escaping that trap. Rachel grew up as the daughter of Dave Ramsey, one of the world's most well-known money experts. But this isn't just recycled advice from her dad. This is a fresh, honest look at the unique financial pressures our generation faces. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 7 powerful habits Rachel shares. These aren't just money tips. They're a blueprint for reclaiming your life. You'll discover the real cure for comparison, why debt isn't the helpful tool society claims it is, and how a budget can actually set you free instead of boxing you in. This is about building a life you genuinely love, not one you think you're supposed to want. Let's jump in. Our money struggles often start with a whisper, the whisper of comparison. Rachel points out this isn't anything new. People have been trying to keep up with the Joneses forever. But here's what's different now. 30 years ago, you had to actually see your neighbor's shiny new car in their driveway to feel that twinge of envy. Today, we carry the Joneses in our pockets. Our phones are like tiny windows into 1,000 carefully edited lives. We scroll through endless highlight reels, the "so blessed" caption under a brand new Mercedes, the filtered sunset from Bali, the perfectly coordinated family photo at the pumpkin patch. What we don't see is the reality behind the image. The car loan with crushing monthly payments. The 37 rejected photos before the perfect one made the cut. The argument that happened right after the camera clicked. We're comparing our messy, real lives to everyone else's carefully curated fiction. And when you measure yourself against make-believe, your actual life will always feel inadequate. This nagging feeling, this constant sense that you're somehow falling behind, is the root of so many money problems. It breeds anxiety, steals joy, and tricks us into the biggest financial mistake of all, reaching for debt. This brings us to Rachel's first critical habit: quit the comparisons. But how do you stop playing a game that feels impossible to escape? The answer isn't found by looking at what everyone else has. It's found by looking at what you already have. The cure is contentment. Contentment doesn't mean having the best of everything. It means making the best of everything you have. It's a quiet peace that whispers, "This is enough." And no, this isn't about giving up your dreams. It's about finding happiness right where you are, without staking all your joy on some future achievement. Contentment rests on 2 pillars, gratitude and humility. Gratitude is like kryptonite to comparison. It's nearly impossible to feel jealous when your heart is full of thankfulness. Rachel practices this with a simple morning ritual, listing just 2 things she's grateful for. It sounds almost too easy, but it rewires your brain to notice the good in your own life, instead of fixating on what others have. Humility, the second pillar, isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. It's shifting from "how do I look" and "what will they think" to simply enjoying your own journey. When you embrace this mindset, other people's wins stop feeling like threats. You can genuinely celebrate with them and keep building your own path. Quitting comparisons is foundational because it clears the fog. It helps you define what truly matters to you, not what Instagram says should matter. And once you know your values, you can start building toward them. But there's a massive obstacle standing in most people's way, an obstacle that promises to help you keep up, but actually chains you to your past. That obstacle is debt, which brings us to the second habit: steer clear of debt. Rachel grew up in a household where debt was basically a forbidden word. She was born the same year her parents, Dave and Sharon Ramsey, declared bankruptcy. They'd built $1 million empire on borrowed money, and when the bank called in their loans, everything collapsed. That experience left a permanent mark. From childhood, Rachel learned a simple but radical rule: if you don't have the money, you don't buy the thing. This idea sounds extreme in a culture that sells debt as a helpful tool, a smart way to get what you want now. Want the car? Finance it. Need a degree? Take out loans. Want to furnish your apartment? Just open a store credit card. Rachel felt this pressure as a newlywed. She and her husband Winston had a house that was practically empty. Having guests over felt embarrassing. It would have been so tempting to hit up a furniture store and fill every room in an afternoon, with easy monthly payments for a few years. But she understood the truth. Debt isn't a tool, it's a thief. It steals your most powerful wealth-building asset, your income. When you're in debt, your paycheck isn't really yours. Chunks of it belong to the bank, the credit card company, the student loan servicer. You lose the freedom to decide what to do with money you worked hard to earn. To avoid debt, you first need to see it clearly. Debt is owing anything to anyone, period. There's no such thing as good debt versus bad debt. Student loans are debt. Car payments are debt. Credit card balances are debt. They all do the same thing. They take your future income and use it to pay for your past. This habit is about fundamentally rewiring how you think. It's choosing to wait for what you want instead of grabbing it immediately. It's understanding that the quick rush of buying something now isn't worth the long grind of paying for it later. Rachel is crystal clear on this. Credit cards aren't wise financial tools. They're dangerous. People say they'll pay them off every month, but the average household with credit card debt carries over $15,000. People say they use them for rewards, but there are literally 14 trillion unused airline miles sitting in accounts. The perks are bait designed to keep you spending. The alternative is simple. A debit card does everything a credit card does, minus the debt. And cash? Cash creates an emotional connection. When you physically hand over bills you earned, you feel it. Research shows this triggers a tiny pain response in your brain, which naturally makes you spend less. Swiping plastic doesn't give you that feedback. If you're already in debt, the way out isn't about complex math. It's about behavior. Use the debt snowball method. List your debts from smallest to largest, ignoring interest rates. Make minimum payments on everything, but throw every extra dollar at the smallest debt. When it's gone, you get a quick, powerful win. That momentum energizes you. Then roll that payment onto the next smallest debt. The snowball grows, picking up speed until you're completely debt-free. It works because it's built on psychology and small victories, not just numbers. But once you're out of debt, or if you've wisely avoided it, how do you make sure your money actually goes where you want it to? How do you create a system that reflects your values and moves you toward your goals? That's the third habit. Make a plan for your money. Most people think budgets are boring straitjackets that tell you all the things you can't do. Rachel felt this way too. As a natural spender, tracking every penny sounded exhausting. Then, something shifted her perspective. On vacation, Winston told her to relax and not worry about the budget. He'd handle it, and she could just enjoy herself. For a spender, this sounded like paradise. So there she was, poolside, living her best life. She ordered chips and guacamole without a second thought. But later, when she glanced at the menu, her jaw dropped. $23. Suddenly, the joy evaporated. Every sip of her drink made her think, "That's another dollar gone." She couldn't relax because she didn't know the plan. The experience taught her something profound. A budget isn't a restriction, it's permission. When you have a plan, you can spend on what you've budgeted for without guilt, stress, or wondering if you should have saved that money instead. It gives you freedom, not limits. Rachel recommends a zero-based budget. Here's how it works. Take your monthly income and assign every single dollar a purpose before the month starts. List all your expenses: giving, saving, housing, food, transportation, everything, until income minus expenses equals zero. This doesn't mean you have $0 in the bank. It means every dollar has a job on paper. You go from wondering where your money went to telling it exactly where to go. The budget has 3 simple categories: give, save, and spend. Giving comes first because it keeps your heart right and money in proper perspective. Saving comes second, building a cushion for emergencies. Spending comes last, starting with the 4 walls: food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. Cover those essentials first, then plan for everything else. To make it practical, Rachel uses a clip system, a modern twist on the envelope method. She uses small binder clips to separate cash in her wallet for different spending categories, like groceries, restaurants, or personal money. When the cash in a clip runs out, that's it. No swiping a card and hoping it works out. A plan is your blueprint, but blueprints are useless if the builders aren't on the same page. For couples, this is where things get real. That's the 4th habit. Talk about money even when it's hard. Money is the #1 cause of divorce, not because couples don't have enough, but because money represents so much more: our values, fears, dreams, and habits. When 2 people bring their unique histories and personalities into a marriage, sparks are inevitable. Most relationships have a natural spender and a natural saver. There's usually a planner who loves spreadsheets and a free spirit who finds budgets suffocating. Rachel is the spender and free spirit. Winston is the saver and planner. They're opposites, but it works because they communicate. The first non-negotiable step is combining finances. Separate bank accounts in marriage are trouble waiting to happen. They create a yours and mine mentality that undermines unity. When you marry, you become one team. Your money should reflect that. It's our money. A joint account forces communication and builds trust. There are no secrets. This connects to what Rachel calls financial infidelity. When one spouse hides purchases, stashes a secret credit card, or maintains a hidden account, it's a betrayal that cuts just as deep as any other, because it's built on deception. Open communication and a shared budget are the best defense. The budget meeting is where real communication happens. Set aside distraction-free time every month to create your plan together. The planner can't just dictate the budget. The free spirit can't just shrug and say whatever you want. Both voices matter. Both must agree. The budget isn't his or hers. It's theirs. These conversations aren't just about bills. They're about dreaming together, talking about shared goals. A vacation, a home, retirement gives meaning to the daily work of budgeting. It transforms a boring list into a roadmap for the life you're building side by side. With a solid plan and good communication, you can start building real security for your family. That's the 5th habit. Save like you mean it. Life is full of surprises. Some are wonderful, some are expensive. A transmission goes out, the water heater dies, an emergency room visit. Saving is about being ready when life happens. It's choosing to set money aside today for a future you can't predict. The first priority is your emergency fund. This isn't an investment, it's insurance. It protects you from sliding into debt when the unexpected strikes. Rachel recommends a 2-step approach. First, save a starter emergency fund of $1,000 as fast as possible. This covers minor crises. Then, once you're completely debt-free except your house, build it up to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Imagine that feeling. No debt. 6 months of expenses in the bank. That's a level of peace money can't buy, but smart saving can build. Keep this money in a separate account, like a money market, where it's accessible but not tempting for everyday spending. Beyond emergencies, save for known future expenses: a car, a wedding, college, retirement. For cars, the rule is simple and non-negotiable: save cash and buy outright. Car payments are wealth killers. You're borrowing money and paying interest on something losing value every day. Instead, pay yourself that car payment every month. If the average payment is $500, save that for a year. You'll have $6,000, enough for a reliable used car. Keep saving, and in another year or two, sell that car and upgrade. You'll never have a car payment again. For retirement, start investing 15% of your household income, but only after you're debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund. Your foundation has to be solid before you build the skyscraper. Saving is discipline. It's saying no to something small today so you can say yes to something significant tomorrow. And that same discipline applies to daily spending decisions. Which brings us to the sixth habit: think before you spend. Spending money is fun. Nothing wrong with enjoying what you've earned. But there's a huge difference between intentional spending and impulse spending. Thoughtless purchases are like slow leaks in your financial ship. $5 on coffee here, 20 on lunch there. It adds up faster than you'd think. Thinking before spending is about being deliberate. It starts with distinguishing needs from wants. Needs are the four walls: food, shelter, clothing, transportation. Everything else is a want. Wants aren't bad, as long as they fit your plan and your needs are covered first. Rachel shares a funny story that perfectly captures a common trap. She came home excited from a shopping trip. "You won't believe it. I saved $70 today." Winston smiled. "That's great. How much did you spend?" She replied, $150. He laughed. "All I hear is you spent $150. Sales are powerful temptations. We get so focused on the discount that we spend money we never planned to spend. A deal is only a deal if you were already going to buy it. This temptation multiplies with online shopping. One-click purchasing removes all emotional friction. You can drop thousands without a second thought. Having a plan and sticking to it is essential. This habit becomes even more important with kids. As a parent, you're the gatekeeper. Your kids don't dictate how you spend. It's your job to teach them money is limited, and they can't have everything. Saying no isn't mean. It's teaching boundaries and delayed gratification that will protect them from debt later. Thinking before spending ensures your money reflects your values. It aligns your spending with what truly matters. And when you've mastered this, when you're living on a plan, saving for the future, and spending with purpose, you unlock the most rewarding habit of all. The seventh habit: give a little until you can give a lot. This is the exclamation point on your financial journey. Winning with money isn't about accumulating the biggest pile. It's about becoming outrageously generous. Giving is the most fun you'll ever have with money. Something shifts in your heart when you give. Your focus moves from yourself to others. It's the cure for the selfishness and discontentment our culture promotes. Generous people are the happiest people alive. Giving should be in your budget from day one, no matter how much or little you have. Make it the first line item. If you wait until you have enough, you'll never start. The amount doesn't matter at first, the habit does. If you can only give a little while paying off debt, that's fine. Start there. Flexing your generosity muscles when money's tight prepares you to give extravagantly when times are good. John D. Rockefeller once said, "I never would have been able to tithe the first $1 million I made if I hadn't tithed my first salary, which was $1.50 a week." Giving isn't just money. Give your time, give your skills, give your attention. Cultivate a lifestyle of generosity. When you manage money well, escape debt, and build wealth, you gain something more valuable than money. You gain options. Freedom, the ability to make a real difference in the world around you. And that's the final piece. From quitting comparisons to becoming a generous giver, these 7 habits work together. They create a system that moves you away from stress, debt, and worry, and toward peace, freedom, and purpose. A life you've intentionally built. A life you truly love. Reflecting on Love Your Life, Not Theirs, what stands out is its refreshing simplicity. In a world drowning in complicated financial products and get-rich-quick schemes, Rachel's advice is beautifully straightforward. It's rooted in timeless principles, but speaks directly to modern pressures previous generations never faced. The most powerful idea, in my view, is the book's core premise. Our financial problems are rarely just about money. They're symptoms of a deeper struggle, the struggle to feel like we're enough. The comparison game Rachel describes so vividly isn't really about wanting nicer stuff. It's about a fundamental human need for validation. Our consumer culture preys on that need, whispering that the next purchase will finally make us feel successful, complete, and happy. Rachel's message is a quiet rebellion against that culture. She's not saying you can't have nice things. She's asking a deeper question. Why do you want them? Are you buying because it aligns with your values and brings genuine joy? Or are you buying to impress strangers on the internet? That distinction changes everything. It transforms money from a tool for consumption into a tool for creation, creating a life that's authentically yours. The budget in this light isn't restrictive. It's a declaration of your values. It's you deciding, on paper, what truly matters. What makes this book so effective is its balance of grace and honesty. Rachel shares her own struggles, her temptation to overspend, her resistance to budgeting, which makes her advice feel achievable. She gets that we're not perfect, we'll mess up. But the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Building habits, one small choice at a time, that slowly, steadily change the trajectory of our lives. So how can you start applying this today? Here are 3 simple actions. First, practice active gratitude. Tonight, before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not things you wish you had, but things you already have. Your health. A kind conversation. A quiet moment. Do this for a week. Watch how it shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. This is step 1 in escaping comparison. Second, have a money date. If you're in a relationship, schedule 30 minutes this week to talk with your partner about one shared financial dream. Not bills or stress. Just a dream. A trip you'd love to take. A goal you're excited about. If you're single, have this conversation with yourself. Write down one big goal that genuinely excites you. This connects your money to your hopes, transforming it from a source of anxiety into a tool for possibility. Third, give something away this week. Doesn't have to be big. Buy coffee for the person behind you in line. Leave a generous tip. Find $5 to donate to something you care about. Notice how it feels. That feeling is the beginning of the most joyful money habit you'll ever develop. Love Your Life, Not Theirs is more than a money book. It's about joy, contentment, and freedom. It teaches that the wealthiest people aren't those who have the most, but those who need the least. The greatest life isn't the one that looks best from the outside, but the one that feels best on the inside. That was a summary of Love Your Life, Not Theirs by Rachel Cruze. We've covered the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful place. The map shows the path, but it can't give you the warmth of the sun or the sound of the waves. The real journey happens when you experience it yourself. If anything we discussed today resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it is an experience that might just change how you see your money, your life, and yourself. You'll find a link in the description below. If this exploration has been valuable to you, please subscribe and maybe share it with someone who might benefit. We explore life-changing books like this in every episode, and I'd love to have you join us as we keep learning and growing together.